I loved the competitiveness of it. I was a high. I was at the 2-0 point, and I ended up um, losing two split decisions. I needed something that had to change,
Hmm.
and I was kind of like obsessed with winning at that point, and I wanted to get back on track, and I ended up coming across Nostos, and I was like, this is the place to be if I want to keep doing this, and
Yeah.
I haven't lost since. So
Yeah. Today with Jarrod the Wolverine St. Jean. Jarrod 2-0 as a professional here out of New England. Jarrod, how are you?
I'm feeling great, man. Thank you to have me.
Yeah, thank you. You're coming off a recent win here for NEF back in May, so we're about like 3 weeks, I believe, post win. You got a decision victory here over Tobias Taylor. Why don't you walk us through that win?
So looking back on it, I I was able to watch a good amount of the fight back. He definitely clipped me hard in the first round, and it was clearly dominating that fight on the ground for the most part. One of the judges saw it the other way, which I believe I can kind of understand that, as I was very active on bottom, cutting him up with some heavy elbows, making it uncomfortable for him to stay in that position. So I eventually got up at the end of the first. Going into the second round, I had a pretty good cut on this side. One of my coaches told me to like we should put on the gas a little bit. And I was like, okay. So I tried to do that a little bit. Came out a little bit. I'd say not. I won't say unprepared, but a little bit, just a little bit more spasticky than usual. Um, then he ends up holding me down for a good amount. I end up building my way back up, reversing the position, and then dominating. I'd say like the last minute almost, and I could understand why people gave me that. The judge gave me that round.
Hmm.
Last round was the barn burner, I'd say, of the fight. Um, Back and forth, we dropped each other. I honestly love looking back on it, seeing how I get dropped, and the crowd just goes crazy. I'm just like, as a fan of the game, I just think it's super funny.
Yeah.
Um,
I
so it
jumped
was,
out. While I was commentating, I jumped up and I was like, "Oh my god, he dropped him!"
I know
That was
everyone.
great.
I just remember in the moment. I've told so many people. I heard the crowd just erupt, and I was just like, "Oh my god, you guys are all traitors!" Because they were all cheering for me the whole time, and then I get floored, and I just like, dang. So I love looking back on it. I think it's super funny. Um, it's a super tough opponent for sure. We were both bloodied by the end of it, covered in each other's blood. Um, I like to keep the title of NEF Fight of the Year personally, but
Yeah.
unofficial, I guess, Fight of the Year. So I like that title to my name. And I ended up getting the decision win, so can't be disappointed.
Nice. Did you feel confident going into after all three rounds that were done and they were reading off the scorecards? Did you feel confident that you did everything, even though
No,
the last round it was back and forth? So I mean,
I I felt like I did enough at the end of the second. I mean, it's hard to say. I've never won a decision, so I always go in with like low expectations.
yeah.
Um, at least as an Emmy, I squeezed out. I lost two split decisions, so
Hmm.
I usually try to put a stamp on it and get the finish. But I wasn't really going in with high hopes in that decision. I mean, I assumed I lost the first, and when I heard um, 30-27, I thought they gave him all three rounds,
Hmm.
which I could understand. You know, being held down for round two, all of round one, and then just maybe he edged out the end of round three.
Yeah.
Um, but I certainly did not go in with high hopes with that. But the judges saw it the other way, and
Yeah.
I'm always going to be my own hardest critic, so I'm just going to
Hmm.
put myself on the lower end of the stick, like probably always. But
Yeah. So this was your second professional fight. How did the nerves and everything feel going into your second fight?
um, I definitely got more than I bargained for sure. I
Yeah.
really just wanted to get on the card and then potentially fight for Combat FC afterwards.
Hmm.
Didn't work out, just too many injuries, and it would have been too soon for me, so I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Ended up getting Tobias on 4 weeks, and I was like, I'll take it. You know, I just wanted
Hmm.
anything at that point.
Yeah.
And as we got closer and closer to fight day, I'm like, dang, this dude's actually really tough. Like, I just look. Obviously, I did the homework and stuff, and I was like,
Yeah.
he hasn't been finished by anybody
Yeah.
on the feet, and that's all I really wanted
Yeah.
to do. I want to be the first guy to do it.
Yeah.
Um,
He had a total of 15 professional fights too, so that's definitely a
Absolutely,
lot
yeah.
more experience inside the cage than you had. So how did you feel? What was going to be your game plan going into that? Did you look at a lot of his past fights to kind of see where you would want to put your skills?
Yeah, just trying to pick him apart from the outside, using my range, that snappy jabs that I have, the speed advantage. I think, unfortunately, I'd say a lot of it kind of our game plan, I'd say, went out the window when I was saying Outback, I was doing mitts on like the 10x10 pad that was out there,
Hmm.
and I rolled my ankle off of it, and I like it popped really bad,
Oh,
and so I wasn't really as springy. So I think a little bit of the game plan kind of went out from there because I usually
yeah,
have a lot of footwork. Not to say my footwork was bad, but it just wasn't 100%, and I didn't want to
yeah,
like overcommit or over rely on something and roll it again in the fight. So I feel like
yeah.
a decent amount of the game plan and or the skills I showed
Hmm.
were a little bit hindered by my movement.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I guess that's all I got about that.
During the fight, going into the third round, or I mean after the third round, when you heard the bell and everything, what did you feel like a moment of like relief of that craziness for 5 minutes
Like
that you guys were just swinging and banging?
a little bit. I was just kind of disappointed I didn't get the finish. I mean, I had topped off my amateur career with 100% finish rate, finished all of my opponents that I had
Hmm.
won. I was like, dang, he was the one person I couldn't do it. But if it was going to be anyone, it would probably be him that he wouldn't go down. So I'm not disappointed. At the end of the day, I did win. Um, and I'm only going to get better from this. So
Yeah,
I think it was good to have that sort of tough fight now. For whoever I fight in the future, I'm just going to go in and with 100% confidence in myself.
yeah, yeah. So, are you looking at how many more times are you looking to fight this year in 2025? We're still we still have many months, many other organizations, many cards to go. Are you looking to get like two fights, one fight, many more fights?
Hopefully, two more fights
Hmm.
before 2026.
Hmm. Any in particular fights you're looking at, or is it just kind of anyone?
Hopefully, I think it's coming up. I think my camp will start in like 2-ish weeks. Getting on that July card for Cage Titans, and
Yep.
potentially Combat FC in November or October.
Hmm.
October.
Yep. Nice, nice. So how was the weight cut going into this fight? You fought at 155, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
How's your weight cut?
Yours are pretty good. I don't really. I feel like I'm not the biggest 55er,
Hmm.
which is where I feel like I excel with my speed a little bit.
Yep.
But I do everything properly. I diet down. I cut all the water weight.
Hmm.
As doing it now, I feel like I've gained a little bit more experience with Devin
Yep.
Powell and the way they would cut weight. I would cut weight different before when I was a Emmy.
Yep. When did you join No Stos MMA?
November of I believe 2024.
Nice. And what made you want to get into MMA and fighting?
Um, I had fought at my other old gym in Spiros, and I loved the competitiveness of it. I was a high. I was at a 2-0 point, and I ended up um, losing two split decisions. I needed something that had to change,
Hmm.
and I was kind of like obsessed with winning at that point, and I wanted to get back on track, and I ended up coming across Nostos, and I was like, this is the place to be if I want to keep doing this, and
Yeah.
I haven't lost since. So
Yeah. That's
definitely
awesome.
paying off.
What's like a normal day in the life for you look like when you're in fight camp?
I try to do like as many classes as possible. So I'm usually training Monday night, probably like 3 hours, doing like the Muay Thai, wrestling, the Muay Thai wrestling. And then there's like MMA, which will go from probably like 4:30 to like uh, 8, 9 ish,
Hmm. Yeah.
super late. Tuesdays I'll do the jujitsu in the morning, then hard rolling positional. You know, Tuesday night conditioning, another jujitsu class. Wednesday mitt class, gi sometimes. Usually the first 2 days are pretty hard, so the rest
Hmm.
of the week kind of got to taper back.
Yeah.
Wednesday there's our fight rounds. Um, then a live rolling. So it's a lot of intensive stuff.
Yeah.
Sparring Thursday, tech spar Thursday, tech spar Thursday, normal sparring on Saturdays.
Hmm.
Um, you're doing two morning classes. You depends. Usually, I try to take Thursday off because I feel like I'll do some cryotherapy. So I feel like
Yeah.
resting the body a little bit.
Nice. Do you have any
Um,
like strength and conditioning days when you work out with like weights, like just straight up like weight training days?
not ex- it depends. I'd say it's probably like more Friday morning. We'll
Hmm.
do. It'll be like a Muay Thai class and then strength and conditioning. Depends on who's running the conditioning classes.
Yeah.
Usually you have Coach Brody McDougall on Tuesday nights, making it like a hard cardio push with weights. So either like kettlebells or dumbbells,
Hmm.
or like explosive movements. Sometimes it's either our Tori, who does our conditioning classes, or Devin. She's pregnant, so now she's got to take a couple steps back a little bit. So Devin will either fill in and then would start doing a lot of MMA based explosive movements as well.
Hmm.
So with I'd say like lighter weights, but like kettlebells, medicine balls, and a lot of battle ropes.
Nice,
So
nice. What? So after your last fight, did you take any time off to kind of because you
yeah,
were pretty beat up? I saw they
I
posted some
had to.
pictures. You had a giant gash right above your eyebrow, right?
hmm
Yeah,
nine stitches up here and then one over here.
yeah.
So it was.
That
I took like 2-ish weeks. I'm still a little bit on the lower, not doing too much right now. My hands still bothering me. My shin, super like I don't remember kicking too much, or even if I like checked a kick, I think I got like a bone bruise that was like pretty bad, and it's
yeah.
just not going away. So, and I'm not
Yeah,
trying to get punched anytime soon because I don't know how long the scar tissue
yeah.
has to like heal properly for. So I'm not trying to have that reopen.
Yeah, yeah. So also during that night, the main event, one of your teammates, Nick Eldridge, fought for the 135-pound title. What did you think of his performance? He won
It
the
was
title that night. So yeah.
It was very good. I think it's funny after his recent win. I think it's funny that when people try to grapple with him, his grappling is just so good. Like he just dominates everyone,
Mm,
especially when they burn themselves out. Like I think it was basically played out the same way as his last fight at Cage Titans. He
mhm.
went in, tried to wrestle him, realized he couldn't get the better of the exchanges. He reversed the position, and then he was just dominating for like the rest of the fight.
Yeah.
Um, so he did that, I believe, which I believe the fight should have been stopped at the end of round two for Nick Eldridge on that title win.
Mm,
He was flattened out, just raining down punches. I feel like the crowd
yeah.
was cheering for him to like stop the fight, and that at the end of the beginning of the third round, I felt a little bit as like an underwhelming finish, but like he had already done enough, so it
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. What did you guys do anything to celebrate after your win, NEF, when you won?
Um,
Because
I would say what
it
did
was
we do?
pretty rainy
So
outside that night.
I didn't get out. I was the last person to get stitched. I think it took
Mm.
like 45 minutes, and every single one hurt so bad. So I think I ended up going back to the hotel room and uh, sleeping or something. I think I drank a
Yeah.
couple beers or whatever it was, but I didn't get the chance to really hang out with anybody.
Yeah.
I was too busy getting stitched forever, and I was allowed. My opponent got in before me. He had to get the stitches. I don't remember how many he had, but
Yeah.
he had to get some. He had to get stitched up, and then I got stitched, and then we were wandering around. I think the hotel. So.
Nice. Nice. What do you have another job other than fighting currently, or is you're all in on
Nope.
fighting?
This is it.
Mm-hmm.
I help out with some of the NOSOS classes. And I'm kind of like I said like the backup coach. If obviously people have their own classes when they're in camp, like for this time, I guess this upcoming wave of fights, we have Kyle Hill and Ozzie Martin.
Mm-hmm.
They have their own classes and stuff, so I'll try to like fill in, I guess, for not like, yeah, I'll try to fill in for like some classes and stuff. There's obviously like tech
Yeah.
spar and like I always feel like it's always good to give back a little bit,
Mm-hmm. Do you
and
like
help out.
coaching?
Yeah, I feel like I need a little bit of work in some areas. I always feel um like am I worthy of coaching in that sense? I always feel better with striking than I do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy coaching. Yes.
Nice. Nice. Would you ever want to open up your own gym?
I think it'd take a lot of work.
Yeah.
The way I know Carolyn kind of runs all the books and like social media and stuff. I feel like she has a lot on her plate, and I feel like for me to be able to do both would be really really hard.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Nice. Did you grow up in New Hampshire?
yeah, Southern New Hampshire, Newton.
Nice, nice. When you were like younger, did you play sports? Did you do any kind of martial arts, or did you find martial arts later on?
I found martial arts when I was 10 years old. I think I was like
Mm-hmm.
bullied on like a school bus, so my
Mm-hmm.
parents just like threw me in. I wasn't. I think I start like I did like a month when I was like 8 or 9, and then I went back. It was like I don't know, a year and a half later. I was like, why did we ever stop? I didn't.
Yeah,
I don't know. I showed interest, and they threw me back in, and I never stopped.
yeah.
But I was always doing sports in high school. All the way through.
Mm-hmm.
Soccer, in high school. It was always like winter track, spring track, football. So I was always active. I think MMA ended up kind of like getting the brunt end of it, so I would like slow down on MMA to do the high school stuff.
Hmm.
But now that that's all over, it's just all in on MMA.
Yeah. Are you a big fan of the UFC?
I wasn't when I was younger. I didn't. I
No.
was just doing the. I was just doing all the stuff I did as a kid. To MMA, but I didn't know anybody at the time. I love telling this. Like I only found out who GSP was in a Marvel movie. Like I had no
Oh
idea like any
Jesus.
of it when I was younger. Like I had no idea. I think one of my first cards. I think I went up to my dad's friend's house to. We watched like one of the McGregor cards when I was younger, and I think that's
Yeah.
kind of like where I started watching it. But now being a student of the game, I do watch a
Yeah.
lot more UFC, like a
Yeah.
lot.
Do you have a favorite fighter or any fights you're looking forward to watching upcoming UFC
Just
cards?
just watching the lightweight division right now. I think it's
Hmm.
kind of in shambles a little bit, just the way uh I wouldn't say like the way Islam's defended his belt, but like there's a lot of contenders who are worthy of the title.
Yeah.
But just the way Ilya always fun to watch. Oliveira is always fun to watch.
Yeah.
Volk, all the greats right now are just so much fun to watch. It's always an entertaining fight.
Oh yeah, definitely for sure. Um, what about like regionally? Do you have any fighters you like to see regionally fight?
Hmm, I don't know. I have honestly never really thought about that. Um, at the moment, I guess no. I mean, Jake Pill is fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of my teammates always fun to watch. Kyle
Yeah.
Hill, it's just it's not a matter of how he's gonna finish it. It's when.
Yeah.
It's guaranteed.
Yeah.
I guess like main event caliber. I don't really have an answer for that, but
Mm-hmm.
I guess a lot of my teammates and people I've trained with before.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. I enjoy watching all the Nostos guys fight. You guys always are in great fights. So whenever I'm
Yeah.
at any local card, I like watching you guys fight. Um, but yeah, it's good. How do you like fighting for NEF?
It's cool. I like fighting away from home a little bit. It's
Mm,
brings a new atmosphere. Um and I think it's cool. It's a different process. I've always fought at Combat FC,
mm-hmm.
so it's fun getting a new crowd, trying to find new fans and stuff. So I'm glad I was able to put on a good performance that the crowd liked.
Yeah.
Um, Feeling all the pain afterwards, it kind of sucks a little bit, but at the end of the day, I'm glad I performed the way I did and had the crowd cheering on their feet.
Yeah, yeah.
So
How'd you like the venue up in Bangor?
first time fighting there, I did
Hmm.
like it. I've helped out back before. I think two or three times before.
Yeah.
Usually helping like Nathaniel Grimard and a lot of the guys with like mitts or grappling and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But it was cool. I've always I went on there like I went to Bangor like with a vacation on a guy's trip because we just like drive around sometimes. But
Yeah,
I like the venue. It was nice.
yeah. Have you ever been to any of the venues in Portland when any of is in Portland area?
Yeah, I forget where they moved to, but I've been in the Aura. The
Hmm.
Aura is, I would say, not a fun time if you're standing because you're usually
Yeah.
just so packed in.
Yeah.
Um, I could not imagine what it's like to fight in that Aura cage. I don't know how big it is, but I know it's certainly small.
Looks super small. Yeah.
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 I forget what the recent arena they switched to. That one was okay. I like that one. The sound system I think was kind of wonky. I think a lot of
Oh,
people were
when they
saying
were
that.
at the Portland Expo.
Yeah, I think so. I want to say it was
Yeah,
like,
that was the last
I,
one. That was the one in February.
yeah, I went to
Yeah.
that one.
So your opponent, Tobias Taylor, he had a total of 15 professional fights. Definitely a lot more experience as a professional than you did. Was there anything in particular you were watching out or not really afraid of him doing, but knew that he would might have a better advantage in one certain area than you?
I was worried about like his cardio.
Mm,
A lot of his fights, he's always been to a decision, win or loss.
hmm.
So he's always seen the distance, So I I was afraid. I wasn't afraid of his cardio, but like it was always a factor that
Yeah.
he would last. Um, One of the things that he did was it was like in the fight. I know they had me cut early, so I
Hmm.
think a lot of the punches was trying to throw were really targeting that spot. So I thought that
Yeah.
was a very veteran move of him, and I think a lot of I always found myself like at least the second round when I was taken down. I think it was the second or first round. he ended up like taking me down in his corner. So I don't
Yeah.
know if it just happened to be that way or if he really tried to do that, but
Yeah.
he did a good job of listening well to his coaches and stuff.
Hmm.
Found found that very unhelpful for my face, but um he had a lot of like little tricky things that he did that kept him still in the fight, which
Yeah.
I should expect nothing less for someone who had
Mhm.
15 professional fights and 7 or so Emmy fights. So.
Yeah. 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 So you said you rewatched the fight. Was there what did you see from your fight that you want to improve on yourself going into the next fight?
Hmm. I thought I was like headhunting too much, to be honest.
Hmm.
I thought like with my hands at least, so I was like I should have been abusing the body a little bit more.
Hmm.
But then I kind of like circled back and I was like, okay, I guess I shouldn't be so hard on myself. I did
Hmm.
implement more knees and elbows than I have
Hmm.
before, so I
Yeah.
felt like that was a very big improvement. I
Hmm.
think from now, I think it's just keeping my base a little bit, at least in the third round. When I threw my third elbow and lost my balance and missed, I should have spun off through something else.
Hmm.
But just really staying grounded to the floor a little bit, not picking up my feet so much on my strikes. I think it's just I'm putting too much power into them, like when I know I
Yeah.
can throw, and
Yeah.
just my footwork kind of pays the price a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good analysis. I would agree with that. You're
Mm,
sometimes you definitely I think, well, you're in the moment, but you just like, just throw a little bit harder than you should in the
yeah.
moment. But I mean, you're trying to knock them out. So, thank you for coming on the show today, Jarrod St. Jean. I can't wait to watch you fight again. I'm going to give the floor to you. Feel
Awesome.
free to give any shout out sponsors, thank yous, any last words. The floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm just happy to do this, being able to live my dream right now. It feels like a long journey ahead of me, and I'm going to take it step by step. Be grateful for every moment because this is a young man's sport, and I won't be able to do this when I'm 30 plus,
Mm.
35 ish. That's when I start doing a real job stuff. So for all my sponsors, thank you. Gibbs Construction out of Newton, New Hampshire. Cameron Chiropractic out of Londonderry, New Hampshire. Wow Factor Auto Detailing out of Wilmington, New Hampshire. Precision Crane Rental and Equipment out of Newton, New Hampshire. TMS Diesel, 2 locations out of Ware, New Hampshire, and 1 out of Gorham, New Hampshire. Mr. Q's Billiards out of Hudson, New Hampshire, and Momentum Massage, Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Thank you to Riley Fierce Pearson, Al Pogo, most importantly, Nostos MMA, and Powell House Management. All my training partners, you guys make me better every day. Couldn't do what I do without you for kicking the crap out of me day in and day out. So I've only elevated my game because of being here and doing what I do. So thank you to everyone.
Nice. Cool.